Yeah, so the weather has calmed down. It's a little bit less exciting than what it has been recently, especially when we had Storm Eowyn charging through the country, bringing incredibly ferocious winds, 100 mile an hour, South Lanarkshire. That's not something that you see every day. Subsequently, there were secondary, tertiary weather events that came after it because of the explosive cyclonesis, where the thing ramps up really fast as it's making its way across the United Kingdom. Again, it's not uncommon to see that weather bomb and sting jets. You've heard all them terminologies coming through. Gets everyone excited, doesn't it? Really, it did ramp up, did get very deep the air pressure, and cause quite a bit of commotion. To be honest with you, my footage actually featured in ITV when I was at Workington there, when they were doing a piece on the shoreline, where they were keeping it, where the harbour is keeping it all safe with the stones. But there was, like I said, secondary, tertiary weather events. There was obviously thunderstorms that occurred down south, and there was reports of tornadoes. One particular one, I think I did say in the video the day before that there is a chance of some sort of tornadic activity, certainly thunderstorms and hail. There's definitely going to be some strong winds. There's definitely going to be a lot of rain. There could be some flash flooding. There could be lightning. There could be hail. And I say could because you might not get it. It could be very localized what happens. And looking at that radar, rain radar prediction from the Met Office, it does look like something could occur. Looking at the projected rain radars, I could see there were certain signals of this sort of chance. Now, the fantastic weather fans team Storm Chaser Paul and Storm Chaser Liz were looking into this, looking at the historic data as well, to try and fathom if a tornado did strike that area, causing some damage, breaking down trees and fences and things like that. They couldn't pin the colours to the mast too much. They were sort of, Paul now and again said yeah and nay, more on the side of nay. Obviously, I'm excited and I'm like yay, you know. But we think it was just basically like a gust front.
Yeah, we're just investigating from above really rather than on the ground. But yeah, the pictures I've seen now and looking at the radar at that time, which I put in the grid chat, it looks like a straight line wind to me, like a squall, rather than a tornado. But there was lightning in the area, so that the bang that she goes on about is more than likely the lightning, and the wind obviously is the squall.
It's at the very front of a thunderstorm, an intense system like that, small system like that, where you get strong winds that just literally drop out the sky and skirt along the ground in front. 80 mile an hour winds, normally cold winds as well, as the system trundles along. Don't want to get too technical, but we think that's what it was. It was a gust front, a forward flank of wind that created the damage, which again, just as destructive as a tornado in this country anyway, not America, of what it can produce. So it was very interesting to see, and we're glad that that information was bouncing around for everyone to have a little look at. Now, if you've been paying attention to the media, not only have the Met Office done a briefing of Storm Eowyn, which I'll put the link in the description area down below. Great radar image here, satellite image of it going into explosive cyclonesis as it's making its way across the country. Hats off to the Met Office there for sharing that with everybody. But it's certainly definitely worth a read, and I'm sure Storm Eowyn is going to be in the chapter books for many years to come, one that we're not going to forget of anytime soon. Is there any more storms to come, I might hear you ask? I don't think so at this stage. I really don't think that there is. There might be some snow over the tips of Scotland and northwest parts of Scotland, especially in the prone areas, the higher areas there, but there's still nothing that's a big signal of any sort of severe weather to come. Around Valentine's night, I am watching possibly for some systems to occur. But in the meantime, it just seems to be high pressure that's firmly in charge. Now, looking at the GFS, the wonderful people at MetCheck have given us full permission to use their charts and data. So thank you very much, Sam, for letting us do that. And obviously, we're going to give you a big plug for it. The link in the description area down below if you want to check MetCheck. To be honest with you, I've used MetCheck for absolute years, and I like the bold colours and the forecast system that they use. But this one is the GFS, which is the assemble average. The samples of 2 metre average. So if you imagine 2 metres off the ground and you're going to take the air temperature, which is just above me, apparently I'm not 6 foot anymore, then that's what the air temperatures will be. Now, currently, as you can see with this image, you've got the lovely greens, and if you look at the table charts down below, you're looking somewhere around 5 to 10 degrees. Down in the south, you've got 10 degrees. And now, I was talking in the previous video rather, that there is a chance that Ireland might see double figures. Now, this obviously being at 2 meters above the ground, you can see those oranges are wanting to sneak in to the southern parts of Ireland. Not too sure if it is actually going to break to do it, because it does get pushed away down below, but there's definitely got some nice respectful double figures that are going to occur for Ireland for this weekend. And whereas in the United Kingdom we're obviously still hovering around what we're experiencing now, 5 to 10 degrees, obviously cooler in the higher elevations and the further north that you go. But you can clearly see there's a lot of warm or mild air that's making its way into the Celtic Sea, the Atlantic, the west coast of Ireland, sorry, going off towards Scotland. However, the continent, Norway, you can see it's very cold at the moment, which is not unusual. And you've got the rest of Europe, which is obviously in a bit of a fridge freezer situation. Over towards Greenland, you've got that very deep, cool air mass, which is part of what they call the polar vortex. I'm not going to get technical, but it's there all the time. It's stronger in the winter. And that basically spins round, and that's where all the cold air is formed, and it influences our weather. There is a boundary between the colder air and the warmer air. Generally, that's where the jet stream lives, separating the two air masses. If the jet stream is straight, you will get stronger winds. And the jet stream is generally around 300 millibars, which is, off the top of my head, about 35,000 feet, where jets also can take advantage of it. Now, like I said, if the jet stream is straight, you tend to get strong winds, but if it goes on a wobble, you don't tend to get the strong winds as much. And this is where the boundaries between the two air masses tend to reside. It's like a protection, the frontier of weather. And you can see on this particular one, the jet stream, as I'm scooting along, this is Friday today, obviously, and then we're going to work our way into the weekend, Saturday. It breaks up, and you've just got nothing really that's bringing anything significant to the United Kingdom. It seems to want to go off to the top of Scotland and work its way out, and that's obviously going to have a complete effect on what happens in regards to our weather. And just for evidential reasons, we're on the surface wind gusts. We're going back to today, Friday. You can see the strong winds that are out in the Atlantic between us and America. But again, straight off to Iceland. They're not hanging around wanting to come towards the United Kingdom. Some nice deep low pressures, but they're just staying between us and Iceland. Not making away the usual traditional path across the United Kingdom into Norway and the rest of Europe. And the reason being, if you look down to the right hand side, we have some high pressure in charge just above Italy, and that's why there's a lot of cold air that's being stored like a battery across Germany, France, Poland, Eastern Europe, and off into Iberia as well. And this is where it starts to get interesting, because there's some talk obviously about sudden stratospheric warning. I'm not even going to go into that at the moment, but beasts from the east are being mentioned. It's a little bit far off to even pin your colours to the mast, but there is strong signals, not just from this weather model, but from other weather models, that the weather will be turning a lot colder. And that starts really from next week, where we start to see a complete change in our weather. If we go to wind speed and direction, and we take this back all the way to the now, which is the 31st, you can see these little arrows here. And the actual strength of the winds. The blues denote, if you come down here, 0 to say 20 miles an hour. There's not much going on, is there, as regards to weather the same. You've got the Atlantic that wants to bring itself in with these stronger prevailing sort of storms and systems that are making their way across the Atlantic. But just watch very closely with the arrows that are in Europe. Actually start off by looking above in the United Kingdom. You can start to see they get a little bit southerly as they're wobbling around, but then there is a certain point in time where they completely change round. There we go, and now they're coming from the east, and you can see now why. I mean, this is the 8th, this starts around about the 6th of February, I think. We're now on the 8th with this particular chart. You can see now why there's a lot of hype at the moment as regards the beasts from the east and everything else, but there's no strong winds coming from the continent. It's just 10-mile-an-hour winds on average. That's going to be cold, so high pressure obviously is going to get a little bit more in charge over the United Kingdom for the first week of February and into the second week of February. And you just clearly see it staying. This is going off to the 10th, and it continues. What will be interesting to see, but it is a little bit far off, is if the Atlantic wins this battle, this tug of war, and brings in some moisture when the United Kingdom has cooled down a little bit, because that would be a great indicator of whether or not we get any snow. But like I keep saying, it's a long way off, and we don't want to start singing any snow songs at the moment because we can't really tell if that's going to be the case. Normally a week is when you can start being more confident. If you can join me on the Patreon membership, a little as £1 a month, it does help towards fuel costs. We went to Workington to do all that storm chase malarkey, which was great fun, great to provide you with the content with that. It cost 50 quid in fuel, but that all came out of Patreon. The Patreon members paid for that, and the membership members paid for that, which is a big thumbs up. Thank you very much. I'm still investing in some better quality live feed gear. It's a bit of a hard one, really. I've now got a SIM card that can connect to multi-networks, which I'm going to go and test over the next couple of weeks while the weather's a little bit calmer to see what we can do with that. And not only can you find me on Facebook, I am also found on the Twitter or the X, where I post quite a few things now and again, like this particular picture yesterday when I was driving around. Great sunshine that was out yesterday, but there was some lenticular stacks and saucers, I call them, that were hovering above the hills of the Pennines. I was a bit in two minds whether it was or not, but within half an hour or so they were still there, nice and smooth, where they condense above the hills. You might have seen them before. People think sometimes they're UFOs and things like that, but they're definitely stacked there above each other. It looked like they're in front of the cumulus clouds, which was some nice big cumulus clouds yesterday actually, that had a bit of convection going on. They were being pushed up because we had a few hailstones. Storms, went in Lancashire, didn't I? Storms that crossed over the Fylde coast, some heavy rain as well, some beautiful structures that were knocking around, which was interesting because in the summertime they could have been the seeds to thunderstorms. But that was really good to see. So go and join us on there. I've also been convinced one way or the other, I know, to go on to TikTok. So if you want to find me on TikTok, just again check the links in the description area down below. I would really appreciate it if you can do any of that and subscribe to the channel as well for another weather update, which I will bring to you sometime next week. I'm not going to do them daily because that's not really my forte. I'm very much wanting to get out in the field and provide you with content, but it's always nice to see what the weather's coming. This is what I do. Journal on a daily basis, go through the weather models, having a look to see what weather is coming our way. Have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for listening to me rambling on, and don't forget to share all your weather related content on our Facebook page, the official Facebook page from Nodrog, which is called Weather Fans. Everyone's on there sharing their beautiful pictures and stories and everything else and the like. It is a good place to meet us all. Until next time, keep your eyes to the sky.